All right. Hello, and welcome to the first episode of a new Dungeons and Dragons game on the channel. Um, the title of this game is um, Artifact Hunt, and you will fairly quickly, by about the middle of this episode, know why. Um, I'm your DM, Mike, as always, and I'm here with the three players that are gonna see if they can save all of time and space,
Oh, well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
or
Nice knowing ya.
or conversely die horribly. So,
I vote we don't do that. The whole die horribly thing.
Yeah,
uh,
our horrible death is no longer with us, unfortunately.
Oh, come on. He's got a name.
well, you see, whether you guys survive and how many and whether all your parts are still connected are up to you. So
Or
we'll just
more
have to.
accurately, unfortunately, they're up to our dice.
Well,
Which is
yes,
not
that's true.
great.
Which means you're all gonna die.
Right.
It's like,
which means I might as well just roll up another character now.
because I was thinking earlier this could be a one shot. It wasn't meant to be, but it could be. So, but
You watch.
anyway,
We're going to find out that Jinx was responsible for getting us out of so much stuff.
you can blame Jinx anyway. He's not here.
So
Yeah. But I will throw it over to Robin and let her tell you who she's playing and what she does.
Hi, I'm Robin. I am playing Meadow Bright Eyes. She is a Tabaxi bard.
And then right below her, we'll go to Arden.
close. I haven't figured out how to pronounce it. Hi, I'm Arden, a human cleric who knows far more about the Goddess Saloon than actual life, kind of sort of like a cleric nerd. We'll just go with that.
Question is, did your goddess like you?
Depends.
And then next to Arden is LaFall.
Hello, I'm LaFall. I'm playing a Averial Ranger. Her name is Aria.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
There's obviously something there, but I missed it. So
It's a longer story than we have time for today.
okay. Well, in that case, the three of you find yourself on a fairly large island off the west coast of Azeron, fairly far south, almost as far south as you can go. this island is, while not connected to any of the other kingdoms, is the beginning of a land bridge archway that leads um, to the east, where you can then access the other kingdoms. But um, the island, the name of the island is Burundi, and on this particular day, it's Burundi's founding celebration. Burundi is what 350 years old today, or at least the civilization on the island is 350 years old, and people are scurrying around, uh, putting up decorations, you know, preparing food for the large feast. Um, I would say the population of Burundi is somewhere akin to the population of Hawaii, except there's only one island instead of a chain of them. Um, so it's actually a fairly crowded, bustling island. And um, as we move closer in on the island, we see a certain um, tabaxi bard that is practicing for a concert this evening that in celebration of Founders Day. Tell us what Meadow looks like, what instrument she's playing, and uh, what she's doing in general.
Okay. Well, she is a black and white tuxedo cat, basically. You know, the little, including a little white paws, white tip at the tail, all of that. Uh, she's very, I want to kind of say, picky about her clothes. So you know, she's like definitely dressed very nicely in full bardic fashion for the time. Uh, her instrument is a flute, which she plays in the style of Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull, the whole rock flute deal. So.
Well, being a tabaxi, she could probably pull it off better than he does. She's got better balance.
Right, that's what the tail's for.
Yeah. So you have been asked by the governor of the island to actually perform tonight.
Right, and I wrote a couple of new pieces for the occasion, so I'm practicing those.
Okay. Um, as we move from there, we, for reasons not exactly clear right now, there is a large crowd gathering in front of the cleric hospital on the island. Um, and that would be where Arden would be working right now. You did say you decided to be a cleric, right?
I do remember that, yes.
Yeah. So, what would Arden be doing in light of the fact that there's a growing crowd gathering in front of the cleric hospital?
Given his almost fanatical devotion, he would be griping at people for not attending the conjuring of the second moon, a
Okay.
Selenite holiday.
And what does Arden look like?
Arden's just a run of the mill human with a few extra scars from sort of a life of a childhood life on the streets in various cities and stuff like that. Not really anything remarkable about him. Um, I was kind of struggling with how to like picture a cleric nerd in a way that wasn't too stereotypical or something like that. Like it wasn't. I spent a couple days trying to think about it, and the best way I could just think of is probably someone that just looked like anyone else, but would be griping at people for not attending a festival.
Well, it is the festival you're talking about is sort of conflicting with the founders celebration. So
I suspect the goddess would not side with the founders.
probably not, but you know, you give people free food, free music, they're gonna,
I've I'm sure he's made that suggestion more than once.
uh, then this celebration is even spreading past the capital city of the island, um, out into the forest that they carved the city out of. And just sort of generally hanging out, trying to decide whether this festival is worth attending, is a ranger named Arya who generally just sort of doesn't really have a home base on the island. They just sort of hang out in the woods most of the time, tracking animals and such like that. Uh, so tell us, tell us what Arya looks like.
Well, Arya is a winged elf. She has bright green eyes, pale white skin, and silver and black hair. She stands about 5 foot tall.
Is the silver because of age, or did she just?
No, it's a natural hair color for him.
Okay. So you're, you're sort of hanging out at the edge of town in the normal area that you generally uh, frequent, and you're deciding whether going to this festival with all its hustle and bustle is worth dealing with. So, as the day goes on, uh, people keep doing things for the festival, getting the stage set up, getting, you know, putting out massive amounts of food for everybody. And, um, and Arden, I need you to make a perception check.
Oh, here we go. 19. 14 plus 5.
Okay. Um, the rumble among the crowd that's building outside of the uh, cleric temple is getting louder. And if you go to the window or the door, you can actually hear what one of them is saying. And they're basically uh, there's a certain number of people who dread the Founders Day celebration. They think it's, you know, they think nobody should be doing this because there have been stories as long as anybody can remember about an artifact that was supposedly created on the island by one of its very first inhabitants who happened to have been an artificer. And this artificer's name is long faded into history. But the artifact that is said to have been created has the power to uh, rip time and space wide open. This artificer wanted to use it to basically take over Azeron completely.
And these people are just sitting outside the window talking about it.
And there is these stories that these people are talking about. Um, and nobody knows if they're really true or not, but the basis of them is that on Founders Day, at some point, they don't know which Founders Day, this artifact will reactivate itself and basically destroy everything. So, so this group of people are like, if Founders Day never happens again, the artifact won't wake up and we'll all be safe. Uh, at least that's what they're telling each other anyway. But the majority of the people on the island think this group is crazy and, that the artifact was just a story created by some crazy old man back in, you know, history long ago, and that people shouldn't be bothering with it. And they should just go on with the festival and blah, blah, blah. So, since the majority feel that way, the Founders Day Festival happens every year. But the crowd that doesn't think they should do it also grows every year. So, and they figured that the safest place to be would be the Cleric Hospital. So they're all gathering around the front door of the Cleric Hospital.
Hmm. So I'll open the if I open the windows very carefully and yell down to them, hey, if you really are that concerned about it, you can always come to the Conjuring of the Second Moon, where it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm sure there's no artifacts trying to kill anyone there.
One of the ladies that is standing in the crowd looks up and sees you and says, given the situation, how do you know that the event you're talking about is even safe to go to?
Well, I've attended it every year for the last 20 years, and I'm still alive.
Um, has it always been on Founders Day?
Not always.
She's like, that's probably why you're still alive. And even the Cleric Hospital couldn't house the crowd that's out front. They would overrun the Cleric Hospital. Because we're talking maybe 1,000 people.
Are all these people afraid of the festival?
Yeah,
Are they just there because oh wow, okay.
there. I'd say the energy level is just under panic level. Because over the years, as stories do, details have changed, and the cataclysmic nature of the story itself has gotten worse as the years go by.
Whether or not it's actually true.
Right. And yeah.
Well, I think he'd be concerned, especially looking out and seeing that many people outside the place. Um, and he'd probably go talk to somebody, the head cleric or whoever it is, the head nurse, whoever's in charge.
Yeah. So um you go to the head cleric's office and and,
Knocking on the door.
and
Sound effects.
yeah, he's like, come in.
What's his name?
Uh have to think of this quickly. Uh
We just call him Bob.
yeah, Father Bob, there you go.
BAWB. There you go. That's a fantasy
Right.
spelling.
Right.
Oh my god.
He's
Okay.
act
All right.
he's
I can do this.
he's actually a gnome, and he's in
All right.
he's in a white robe with gold trim, and he's
Okay.
sitting behind his desk, which is taller than he is,
Yeah, that's what I was-
and he's
Okay.
like, Brother Arden, what do you need?
He'd step in the door. Father Bob. Father, are you there? Father Bob, I heard your voice.
He,
Oh, good, you're there.
yeah, he jumps up out of his chair and walks over. He's like,
I hate to bother you, but there are an ever increasing number of people outside worried about the festival and a couple of artifacts, and I tried to talk to them, but they didn't seem interested in the Goddess Saloons festival and any of that stuff. I'm just concerned that, well, I don't know. Don't really run into this a lot, and it's a lot of people, and
well,
I'm not sure how to handle this.
um, he sighs heavily and sort of drops his head. It's like, this happens every year on Founders Day. At least since I've been here, and that's been quite a while. Um, the crowd does tend to grow a bit every year.
Is it as bad as they're saying?
What if the artifact were to wake up?
I I know people in rural areas can talk a bit and things get exaggerated, but there's a lot of people out there.
Um, as far as the stories that everybody hears, yes. If the artifact does exist and it does wake up, as the stories say, yes, it would be basically the end of existence. But
Well, it's always
what?
the end of existence, isn't it?
What?
It's always the end of existence sometime.
Well, yes. It's just that generally not all at once on one day. But um, and as the stories go, if it ripped a hole in time and space, who knows what would come through? Because who knows what's on the other side of that?
I remember reading a story about this. A guy by the name of Dr. Brown from some city in the future somewhere. It was a really interesting story.
Well, um,
That was
hopefully,
dumber than I meant it to sound. I'm sorry.
well, ho- hopefully, if he was able to write a story in the future, it means the artifact had not
Well, this
woken.
wasn't. I hope this wasn't a real. It was just a work of fiction.
Ah, well, well, in a sense, we know that the artifact didn't wake up or he wouldn't have existed. So, but that is if even the stories you've been told as children and such are even true. People may be panicking over nothing.
Doesn't sound like nothing.
Well, uh, I would say for all of our sakes, it better be nothing, or, you know, it's going to be a very bad day, whichever Founder's Day this happens to happen on. Uh,
Well, how do you usually deal with this?
I usually call the guards, call the city guards, and they come and disperse the crowd and t- tell them everything is okay and that uh, the artifact is going to wake up on next year's Founders Day. So today is fine because it's going to happen next year instead of today.
But Father Bob, that's a lie. You don't know any such thing. How can we? Why would we tell them that? Surely they're gonna know if they wait till next year that we've lied to them.
Well, that's why the crowd gets bigger every year.
I don't know if I can.
It's better than telling them it's going to happen this year and everybody's going to die. Yeah. Because we have to tell them something or they won't go away.
So they just go away when if you tell them they're worried and they want some reassurance.
Right. And they figure the people in town that would know better than anybody else would be us. So,
It's been my experience that that's not always true.
well, yeah.
Though my experience is limited. In, in the past, sometimes the clerics are the least knowledgeable.
Well, you see, what we don't want to tell them is that we have no more idea than they do. Because then they're going to panic in the streets and it just would not be a good day. So,
Well, if I can't convince them to come to Saloon's festival, I guess we should at least console them.
yes. Yeah.
I'm guessing you want me to do that, even though I'm sure you read the reason I'm here.
I vaguely recall it, but why would that impede you from, you know, telling them a nice little happy story that makes them go away?
Okay, well, I mean, last time I led a little too much of the reality and the truth into the story. And there was a stampede of ducks, and it wasn't. It was really bad. All those
Oh,
poor ducks died, and they kicked me out of the city.
well, you have one advantage here over that, which is the creatures you are talking to aren't ducks this time.
No, but those ducks had an owner, and she was not friendly.
If you had several dozen ducks hanging around you all
Hundred.
the time, would you be friendly? Uh,
It was more Father Bob. It was more like 100.
why would a lady have 100 ducks?
She had a duck courier service. She was trying to corner the market in delivering messages, and the pigeon mafia was trying to strong harm her out of the city. So she was using ducks as a way. Don't laugh. I'm not gonna get through this if you.
Interesting. How did it turn out in the end?
Well, all her ducks died, and I'm assuming she had to leave town. Last I heard, she was trying courier warthogs, and I don't know exactly how well that was gonna go.
Chances are not very well.
Well, they'd be stronger than the ducks.
Yeah, well, they might actually. Did these ducks fly?
I don't know. They weren't at the time.
Because warthogs don't fly, so they'd be slower.
Well, maybe that's what the catapults were for.
Well, if you've got a catapult sitting around not doing anything, I guess you've got to do something with it.
Father Bob, that's it's all past history. I'm pretty
Right,
sure pigs actually did fly in her service, but it wasn't. That's not the point.
right.
I'm just saying I'm not really good at handling crowds of ducks or people.
Okay, given that, I will go to, uh, well, how about this? I will go talk to the people, and while I'm doing that, you go to the guard barracks and tell the guards to come.
Okay, I think I can do that.
Okay. So, Father Bob, you know, you and Father Bob leave his office, and you go, both of you go outside, and he wades into the crowd to the point where you can't even see him anymore. And you go off to the guard barracks.
Hello? Is anyone here? I'm assuming no one's outside.
No. Actually, the guards, there is one guard still in the guard barracks. The rest of them are scattered around the island because of the festival. So the one guard that's there comes to the door and says, "Yes, can I help you with something?"
I'm sorry to be a bother, sir. There's a very large crowd out in front of the cleric hospital, and they're all concerned about an artifact for the festival. Um, I guess this happens every year, and I was sent to come ask for some help just to maybe keep the peace and make sure things, everyone stays safe.
Right. And yes, that story circulates every year about this time.
So I've been told.
So, how big is the crowd you need help with?
Oh, I'm so really bad at estimating this. I would say about two or three groups of ducks.
Two or three groups of ducks. Uh,
Maybe 500 or 600,
are
somewhere
the
in. I'm really bad at this. You're going to
are the
ask me for a number. I'll give you a number, and it's going to be wrong.
are they actually ducks?
No, they're not ducks. I'm sorry. That it's a long story. Different pigs flying something.
Right.
Um, there's a lot. There's more than can fit inside the hospital by a good margin.
Oh, okay. Well, I will round up a couple of my companions and we'll see if we can disperse the crowd.
Thank you.
And he actually follows you out the door uh, and goes in search of a couple of his guard companions to fix the problem.
So I'll head back to. I'm heading back to the hospital.
Um, you get back. Actually, roll me, roll me another perception check.
Well, I don't know how well this is going to be because he's kind of stuck on reminiscing about the ducks. Oh my god!
What?
It's a 7.
Okay.
It was never rolled a 2, and he's got a +5, so it's a 7.
So
He's distracted thinking about ducks.
yeah. So you find your way through the crowd and get back inside. But you don't see Father Bob anywhere. And as you were going to the guard barracks, he was wading in the crowd.
Oh, I see. I see him.
You don't see him.
Oh, I don't see him.
In fact, you look around the cleric hospital and he's not there.
I'm just gonna ask some of the crowd if they've seen him. Excuse me, have you seen Father Bob? Sorry, gnome, little guy in white robes.
And
What's a gnome? Well, they kind of look like kids and frizzy white hair a lot of times, big heads.
and one of them points straight down.
I don't understand. That's a rock in the street.
Okay, well, then she points a little over. And what you see is Father Bob laying unconscious on the ground, having been, looks like he'd been rather, rather seriously pummeled. Uh, but he's now laying on the ground and looks to you to be unconscious.
This is where the cleric part comes in, right? Um, can I do a medicine check on him to make sure he's not seriously injured?
Yeah.
Maybe. There it is. All right. That was a natural 20 plus 8. 28.
Wow.
Okay.
You can tell he's alive, but you can also tell that he's sustained several injuries, like broken ribs and stuff like that.
He's it's not. Is it life threatening or not?
Uh, at current, no,
Currently,
but he is laying on the ground unconscious in the middle of a crowd of 1,000 people. So what do you want to do?
um, I'm gonna ask someone nearby if we can, if they'll help me get him into the hospital as quickly as we can without hurting him any farther.
Um, you ask somebody in the crowd, or do you ask somebody else in the hospital?
We're outside, right?
Yeah, you're basically right outside the front door of the hospital.
Is it open?
No.
Okay. So then I'll ask someone in the crowd to help me because I can't imagine he'd likely to be heard through the door over the noise of the crowd. Hey, do you think you can? Can you help me out here real quick? We this is the master of the cleric hospital. We need to get him inside. He's hurt really bad.
Um, most of the crowd ignores you until one uh, teenage looking orc uh, walks over from the edge of the crowd and uh, says, "Where do you need him to be put?"
We need to get him inside. Get him into the care of the clerics inside. Can you pick him up by yourself, or do you need help?
"I've got him, you just get the door."
So I don't say anything. I just run for the door and try to open it.
Uh, Give me a dex check.
Oh yeah, if it's one thing that clerics are good at, it's dexterity. 9.
Total.
7 plus 2.
You are standing there pulling on the handle of the door. It seems to be, it feels like it's locked, but you didn't lock it, and you didn't notice that Father Bob locked it. So, and during the day, that door's never supposed to be locked.
Is this a matter of me trying to remember that it actually opens by pushing?
No.
Okay.
That would be hilarious, but no. Um,
So then I'm just gonna pound on the door as loud as I can.
okay. What? After a couple minutes, the door opens, and there's this female elf cleric who slightly opens the door.
You get what's her name, or do I not know her?
Uh, you don't know her because they have traveling clerics that rotate through all the time. So you never really get a chance to know everybody.
Listen, listen. I've got Father Bob out here. He's been hurt. I don't know if he's been trampled or something's happened to him. But you gotta let us in so we can take care of him.
Um, she looks at you, and then she looks at the teenage orc carrying Father Bob, and she opens the door a slight bit more and says, uh, "The two of you squeeze in here because I don't want to open the door because I don't know if that crowd will try and rush the hospital." That,
I'm trying to think.
that that's why I locked the door to begin with.
Okay, well, hurry up. We'll try and get in as quick as we can.
Uh, uh, and I will do a dex check for the orc carrying Father Bob. As the boy tries to walk up the steps into the uh, hospital, a dagger comes through the air, barely missing the boy and sticking in the side of the hospital. And you assume it came from somebody in the crowd.
Still trying to learn my character and figure out how he. He's not the kind that gets into a lot of bar fights, so this is probably spook him.
Yeah. So give me another dex check to see if you make it in the door.
5. Can we have Jinx back? I feel like I've got Jinx's dice tonight.
Um, the orc boy carrying Father Bob pushes past you and gets through the doorway. You are somewhat shaken by the whole thing, so you are just standing there, wondering to yourself, why would somebody go far enough to try and, you know, kill the head cleric of the island? Because Father Bob is actually very well thought of on the island, and most people, love him and all that stuff. And it's like somebody must be, panicking out of their mind to try and, you know.
So, does the person come after me or not?
No.
If I can't get in the door,
And uh, about that time, you see three guards walking up the street toward the hospital.
Th- uh, did the gnome make it inside?
Y- yes,
I didn't. But he did.
the orc boy and Father Bob sort of pushed past you while you were standing there. So they are now inside. Y- you are standing there somewhat in a daze when you see the three guards walk up.
If the gnome's inside, I think he'd just be not happy, but just try and keep calm and not. It's he's been because he would have been in a situation where panicking would have caused other people to panic
Right.
based off of his past. Like as a kid on the streets, he would know not to panic in a group because it doesn't help.
Right. Um, and in a little while, the three guards start pushing their way through the crowd. And they get up to where you are and turn around. And the three of them stand in front of the door. One of them motions for you to go inside.
So then I'll take their suggestion and go stand inside or try to get inside as best I can.
One of them notices the dagger stuck in the just to the right of the door and goes, "Where did this come from?"
Um, uh, it's don't you know it's near Christmas. There's traveling dagger claws left it as a sign of. I don't know
And
where that one was going.
the guard looks at you rather skeptically and goes, "Okay."
I don't know where it came from. Somebody threw it and I didn't see who.
So, given that, they start like forcibly getting the crowd to disperse. And when um yeah, okay. And some of them try and fight the guards, and the guards pretty much subdue them fairly quickly. And uh, there's a couple of people left with, you know, blood running down the sides of their heads and such. And the rest of the crowd is like, finally gets the picture and starts to wander off.
I'm gonna go check on Father Bob,
Uh,
BAWB.
right. And you get to his private quarters and he is they've laid him on his bed and he is still unconscious. Oh, and by the way, as you walk up to his room, the orc teenager passes you going back out the other way.
Thank you for your help.
No problem.
Our our dear father appeared to have a pretty short trip. Um,
No.
no, it didn't last very long.
Well, it's like these silly stories about, you know, artifacts destroying everything is like, eh, that's for old people. The younger generation just wants to go to the Founders Day event and party.
Do orcs know how to party pretty good?
Let's put it this way. Couple of my uncles who live in the town next door were thrown into jail because they destroyed the local bar. So, when orcs party, they party pretty hard.
So orcs are the Dungeons and Dragons rednecks.
we
Is that
can
what this?
we can keep up with a dwarf in a drinking contest if that tells you anything.
I have no doubt. Thank you
So
so much.
yeah, we'll probably see you around the party at some point. And he turns and walks off. So while you are tending to our father Bob, um, we will peek in on Arya, who is hanging out in a small grove on the edge of town, um, considering whether she wants to go hunting for food or walk into town and go to the Founders Day party. So, what is she deciding to do?
Um, I guess I'll make my way through town just to see what's going on.
Okay, you do that, and you see everybody putting up decorations and making large amounts of food. In fact, um, a, as you're walking through, a large female bugbear in an apron stops you and is like, I need some help taking trays out to the main uh, feast area. Can you give me a hand for a minute?
It's strange to see a bugbear in a place like this.
Uh, she actually owns the local bakery on the island. And she's like, what? Bordering on 7 feet tall and must weigh 400 pounds. It's strange to see a bugbear in an apron, but
Well, that alone a town.
right. So, but
Since you asked kindly, sure, sure, I'll give you a hand.
okay. So you go in, and there are several trays of various baked goods laying on a large uh, table that runs the length of the building.
Okay.
She's like, I've been working for days for this, and I just can't lug them all out at once. So,
One piece of food from each tray that I carry out. That's my price.
she's like, that's fine. Uh,
Okay.
she's like, although with all those trays, you're gonna end up being sick before you're done. But that,
That's why I have a backpack.
it's like, but she's like, that's up to you. It's like, uh, so the two of you start um, carrying out trays, and as you're headed to the feast tables, you see the guards over by the cleric hospital trying to disperse this large crowd.
Not my concern. Just keep on carrying.
The bugbear says, oh, that happens every year. There's some people in this town on this island are certifiably crazy. Uh,
Yes, I've heard and seen.
yeah. Old stories about some artifact that's going to end existence as a whole. Uh, supposed to happen on Founders Day, and it hasn't happened as long as I've been here. So, but
Yep.
there's
Some artifact on some day, ending the world on this year, that year, the year past.
yeah,
Same story everywhere.
yeah, there's always a certain group of people that hear these things and panic. Uh, so I just concern myself with making bakery food and don't really bother with the rest of it.
If you worry about it, then you have nothing to live for.
Well, yeah, you're just waiting for this catastrophe to happen, so you don't ever get anything done.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, by the time you're done um, lu- lugging all the trays out, they have to put up another table. And when you're when you've got the last tray out, you have at least with one thing from each table. You're you are carrying a dozen different baked goods by the time you're done.
Okay.
So, and as you're putting the last tray down, she's like, "So, you gonna hang around for the party till later, or what are you planning to do?"
I don't know. I'm not much of a crowd person. Or maybe I'll just hang out in a quiet little place and observe.
Once these people start drinking, that's probably the safest thing to do. I will be in my shop baking for the rest of the evening because people people go through this stuff fairly quickly. And with that, sh- she says goodbye and turns and heads back into her shop to start baking more stuff.
Okay.
So what do you do?
Oh, just mosey my way around, find a nice quiet spot to sit down for a bit and watch what people do.
Well, there is a fountain in the center of town with a statue of the person who, or the creature who first settled the island. And so, and there aren't very many people around the fountain, so you can go over and um, find a spot fairly easily.
Okay.
And the day the day goes on, and you notice the sun is starting to go down. And from where you're sitting, you can see it to the main stage. The governor of the island walks up the steps onto the main stage and says, um, "I, I hereby open this Founders Day celebration. Everybody, have a good time, but please stay safe and don't go overboard. And we're going to have uh, music and dancing and food throughout the night. Uh, and as usual, there'll be plenty of alcohol supplied by the bar, but we don't want anybody to get sick or injured. So please party responsibly. And with that, um, he turned and says, um, now I'm going to introduce the first concert of the evening. And he introduces Meadow. Then he walks off stage and heads for one of the tables with food on it. So what does Meadow do at that point?
Well, I'm not like actually going to introduce myself or anything. I'm just going to take my flute and start playing immediately. And one of the new songs I wrote for the occasion. Although I keep looking over at the food table because I smell fish. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Eh. Um, so give me the performance check.
performance. Okay. To very carefully pick which die I use.
It doesn't matter.
Some of them roll better than others. Okay, total of 19.
Well, the song, the first original song that you wrote goes over quite well. People actually stop eating and turn around to see what the flute music is all about. And when the song's over, uh, the crowd claps and you even get a couple of coins tossed your way. So, do you continue playing or?
Yeah, I'll do like 4 songs before I take a break.
So what I'll do is have you roll one more performance check for the other 3 songs.
Okay. 22 total.
You are basically uh, at this point having the performance of your life. Everything seems to be going wonderfully. The crowd likes your music. By the time the 4th song is over, there are several coins scattered on stage. So what do you do?
I'll I'll bow very theatrically and I'll gather up the coins. Then I'm going to jump off the stage and head over to the food table. Because, like I said, I smell fish.
So, so you do that, and the mayor of the island walks up to you while you're getting uh, fish from the table and goes, "Do you have enough material to do another set, or because the crowd seems to like your stuff tonight?"
Yes, I have some of my older songs that I've been doing for a while that I could perform.
So the mayor gets up on stage and says, "Meadow is just taking a break to get some food. She will be doing another set in a little bit." And he walks off stage. Um, at this point, I need you all to give me dex checks.
Mm,
10.
Mm.
8.
Oh, we're up to a great start.
9.
The tabaxi gets the worst roll on a dex check. Okay. Uh, that's a little odd, but all right. Um,
I guess I don't always land on my feet.
well, you're busy eating.
Yeah.
Uh, so are the other, where, um, is Arya around the food tables, or where are you?
No, still up by the fountain, watching everything.
Okay. And is Arden still in the cleric hospital tending to Father Bob?
At this point, yes.
Okay. Um, you feel what could only be described as an earthquake. Strong enough that it rattles the food tables where the people are standing. And it even feels like the the foundation of the cleric hospital moves slightly. Um, and Arya, you end up getting wet because it's strong enough that it shakes the fountain, and instead of the water, all of the water going down to the base of the fountain, some of it lands on you. So
Okay.
you end up getting decently wet, and the people around the food tables are like, what in the world? And you see some people start running because, and these are some of the people who were in the crowd in front of the cleric hospital, and they start running over to the cleric hospital and banging on the front door because they believe the cleric hospital is the safest place to be. They don't know that the foundation of the very buildings just moved. So what do you guys do in your various different situations when this happens?
I'm actually going to get under the food table and just kind of crouch there.
Okay. What is Arya doing over by the fountain over there?
Um, well, considering I'm in the open area, nothing to dive under, anything like that, and now I'm all dripping wet, I guess I'm gonna shake off
Yeah.
and what the hell was that?
So your best guess is it was an earthquake. You see one of the people run past you toward the cleric hospital, and they're like, they hear you go, "What was that?" And they're like, "Well, the stories are coming true. Yeah, it's Founder's Day, and the very foundation of the island is moving. We're all going to die." And he keeps running toward the cleric hospital. And within short order, you, Meadow, are the only person by the food tables because everybody just scatters. And you see across the way that the bugbear that owns the bakery is is now standing on the front steps, looking at what's going on. So what are you doing?
Were you talking to all three of us? Or?
Well, no, I was specifically talking to you
Oh, okay.
because
Uh, is
you are.
everything still shaking or is it stopped?
It shook for like maybe 5-10 minutes, and now it stopped. It did, however, shake hard enough to knock over a couple of the tables with food on.
I'm gonna very cautiously crawl out from under the table and kind of stand up and look around, see if there's like any, if I can see anything that's been like damaged to the point where I need to get the hell out of there, or it's self-preservation. I just want to make sure it's safe here.
Um, in the area you're in, you don't see any major damage. That doesn't, however, mean that in other places on the island there couldn't be damage. What you notice the most is there's a lot of food scattered on the ground.
Oh, that's stuff on the ground. I guess I'll go. I'm not gonna put it back on the table if it's like just scattered all over the ground. So I'll like try to clean stuff up and look for a trash can to dump it in, or whatever the equivalent is in D&D.
There are large wooden barrels used to collect trash. And the three of you start to see uh, the city guard come out uh, to try and calm the people down.
They have got to quit serving the tacos at the same time.
And Arden, you see that the crowd over by the cleric hospital is now even bigger than it was before. And there are 3 or 4 people pounding on the front door of the cleric hospital trying to get the door open.
Well, the barbarians are at the gates.
Yeah.
I'm gonna yell at them through the door. What is it?
The voice you hear back is you have to ask. we want inside somewhere that's safer than being outside right now.
Just tell the cooks down at the inn to not serve tacos on the same day, and you'll be just fine. I'm sure the food isn't spoiled. You're not in my head. You have no idea what.
Right.
I'm just thinking like the ground shaking and everybody's panicking, and in my head it's like everybody's sick and there's just gas, methane. People are farting because it's bad food. This is what I think about at 11 o'clock at night.
And just as you finished saying that about tacos and stuff, and they are actually staring at you like, what? It happens a second time.
Oh,
The ground shakes.
oh, this better not be that thing that Father Bob said never happens. It was going to happen next year, but might actually be happening this year.
As the ground shakes, several of the people lose their balance and fall, and uh, like sustain minor injuries, and now they're a bunch of bloodied townspeople standing in front of your doorway.
Okay, so I'm trying to complete sentences. Complete sentences. If this is going to continue, I can promise you the safest place is not going to be inside this building. We need to get out and into the open, away from everything, so that if stuff falls over, it doesn't hit. You don't get hurt. And I'm sure, of course, a group of panicking people are totally going to understand that.
Right. And you do notice with the second occurrence, it's stronger than the first. And things actually start falling off the walls in the cleric hospital.
I'm guessing it's not built to code and can't withstand earthquakes.
No, it's not built to, you know, ancient artifact code level, and no, it's not. Because they don't even have such a thing. Yeah.
Is that work still around?
Yeah.
He's not.
You can tell dwarves did not build this city.
Fair.
So
So we need to evacuate. We need to get everyone out of the hospital. We're going to have even more wounded people on our hands and some dead ones.
yeah. Including Father Bob, who is not yet completely conscious.
That's why I was asking if the orc was still around.
Well, if you're moving them from the inside to the outside, you have your other clerics that work in the hospital there with you.
Right, but I'm also thinking of the people who are trying to get in, and I'm trying to think of a way to at least temporarily intimidate them so we can get out the front door. They want to go inside the building and kill themselves when it collapses. There's no way we're going to be able to stop them. But right. I need to get the sick people, whoever's in the hospital, out. And I have a thought, but I'm not going to tell you that.
The young teenage orc is not there that you can see.
So I'm going to ask one of the other clerics to go. Two of them. We'll ask two of them to go see if they can find him. Are there any other wounded people or that we need to get out, or is it just him and sort of a hospital full of clerics?
Well, no. There are about a half a dozen patients in the cleric hospital, including Father Bob.
Okay, we need to get everyone out of this house. I'm talking to the clerks. We need to get everyone out of this hospital. I'm just going to point it to him. You guys go get Father Bob. The rest of you help me get these people out. We're going to have to try and keep from getting crushed as people are trying to get in. I've got a way to handle that, but we need to all do this at once.
Um, one of the older clerics turns and goes, "Well, there is a back door."
You're not helping.
Well, I'm
This
just
is going to
saying.
be kind of cool. And fine, we'll use the back door.
Because every building has to have a back door because of fire code. So,
Damn it, Mike. I had this really cool plan, this thing I was going to do.
you don't know what I'm going to do with the crowd yet.
No, but I wasn't expecting a back door.
It's a hospital.
I've only been in the hospital like twice.
Oh, jeez.
No, that's not right. It's at least 4 times. 3 for the birth of each of my kids, and then once when I had surgery. That's it. I've only been in the hospital 4 times.
I've only got you beat by 6. But
Okay, well, either way, that's fine. That seems better. I don't know if there's less people on the other side of the building, but either way, we just need to get people out.
so
If this comes again, I'm worried the building's going to collapse.
as you start moving people out the back door, you hear a large cracking noise. And a few minutes later, the large front door of the hospital caves in, and a stream of panicking crowd rushes into the building. Uh, but you are, however, you and your co-workers are able to get all of the 6 patients out of the building.
All the clerics too,
Yeah,
and Father Bob.
yeah. Um, but now there are several hundred people, panicking people, flooding into the building.
Okay. How many people are inside the building so far?
Probably by this time, probably half the crowd. Like
Well, it's too late.
2 to 300 people. And just as the last cleric is able to get out the back door, the ground shakes again. And in fact, Anybody who is currently outside, I need a dexterity check.
Four, 14.
12.
19.
Okay. The three of you are fine. Um, but some of the stone walls used to make the cleric hospital begin begin to crack, eh, and the the panic crowd inside the hospital see this and rush back out of the hospital uh, because they don't want stone to fall on them. And, and at this point, Father Bob is barely conscious and says, "We have to send somebody to find out if the artifact is real or not. Because as long as you've been here, you don't remember the island having earthquakes. Not to say it couldn't happen, but but you don't remember any of them if they did."
How would he know where the artifact might be?
He didn't say anything about where it might be. He just said that somebody needs to go find it and find out if it's real and find out if it's what's causing this. Because if it's not, there's another reason that you're suddenly having earthquakes. So, and the strain of him trying to tell you that, he passes back out.
Well, that's lovely.
Uh, Gnome constitution isn't all that strong. So, that's why he picked a nice, calm job of being the head of a cleric hospital.
Well,
He,
he's going to regret that.
he thought this would be easier than adventuring and such.
Well, that'll show him.
Well, yeah. And by this time, if you're outside, the crowd in front of the cleric hospital and the three of you are the only people outside. Everybody else is scattered.
I would imagine.
The streets are completely empty, except for the three of you and the crowd in front of the cleric hospital.
But we don't know each other.
Nope. You, the three of you are in the places that you told me you were in. Although now with nobody in the street, you can see each other.
So the crowd's on the other side of the building.
Yeah.
So I'm just busy checking on Dr. Bob and the patients that we pulled out
Okay.
of the hospital to make sure everybody's okay.
So I need.
Dr. Bob, Father Bob.
I'll let you do two medicine checks, one on Father Bob and one for the rest of them, because we don't need you having to do 6 separate medicine checks.
First one's 14, the second one's 18.
So everybody seems to be at least as well as they were before this started. Nobody's been further injured because of this.
Well, that's good.
So what would Meadow be doing?
Well, the subsequent earthquakes kind of freaked me out again, so I'm back under the table, like puffed up.
None of the table, none of the food tables that were set up are standing.
Well, I'm behind one of them then, if it's laying on its side.
You do, however, have some foreign casserole looking substance that fell on you when
Oh,
yeah, you have no idea what it is. You've never seen it before. Uh, Apparently somebody in the town made it. Now you're wearing half of it. And what is are you doing? You were you were over at the fountain. What did you do once you ended up getting wet?
I'm gonna head back to my little alcove.
You're headed back out of town, huh?
Yep, safer in the woods than in town.
It does seem that way. Uh, and you're thinking to yourself, gee, I picked the wrong day to wander into town.
Yep.
Mhm. So, um, some time goes by and it's the sun starts going down, and very soon it is nighttime, and there has been no further earthquakes or aftershocks or whatever you want to call them. After the third one, it seems to have stopped, at least for now. So, Arya is back in her grove out at the edge of town. What are the two, Meadow and Arden, doing now that things have calmed down and it's gotten dark?
Well, I mean, since it looks like things have kind of come to an unexpected end, I guess I'll just head home.
Do you live in the town itself, or where do you live?
I, uh, I kind of travel around, so I'm staying at the inn.
Okay.
I mean, this is just where I'm at currently.
Okay. Did you just initially come for the festival, or? Uh,
No, I've been here for a week or so.
okay.
I just I just kind of don't really have any particular end destination in mind. I'm just on the road, staying in inns and performing and stuff.
Okay. So you've been there for a week. So the bartender and the waitresses all recognize you because you've been hanging around. You get to the inn and it's pretty much chaos. Yeah. There, yeah, it's standing room only. Yeah. The tables are full. There's dozens of people standing around, and the waitress is going crazy. It's like she can't move fast enough to serve all these people.
I'm gonna try to listen to conversations and see if there's anyone who sounds like they might know what all the earthquakes and stuff were about. See if there's someone who might know what's going on that I can get information out of.
Oh, so you walk around and you talk to a few people, and basically what you're hearing over and over is this story that people believe that, you know, this is pretty much a signal that the artifact is waking up and we're all gonna die.
Gotta go sometime.
That's why everybody in the tavern is fairly well panicked, except the bartender and the waitress. And they're pulling their hair out for other reasons, like
Right.
too many people. But yeah. And then you've been there. After you've been there maybe about an hour, this very formally dressed person walks in the door and tacks tacks a piece of parchment onto the wall. And it basically says the governor of the island is looking for brave adventurers to go find out what the hell caused this. And he is willing to pay up to and including everything in the city treasury
Was that
because
all?
his theory is if they don't find out what's causing this, the city treasury isn't gonna be isn't gonna do them much good anyway.
It's a fair point.
And people walk up to the notice and turn away and head back to their drink because the story is spread over the generations to the point where nobody, none of the townspeople are brave enough to go looking for this thing, whatever it happens to be. So, does Meadow go up and look at this or what?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm curious now, and yeah, we all know what curiosity did to the cat. Yeah.
And, and given that this could be the worst situation you could ever find yourself in, but
But
you
yeah,
go
I'm curious. I'm gonna go look what it says.
and it says exactly what I just told you, except it has a number on it. As far as I told you, he's willing to give everything in the treasury. Well, the number on this parchment is a bigger number than you've ever seen in your life. And it's like, fact, you didn't know there was that much money because the mayor of the island is wants to save everybody. He wants to find out what this is and stop it. Because given today, even he's starting to believe the story that is continually circulating around. Because the island generally doesn't have earthquakes, and you've had 3 of them in one day.
Right.
So he's like, ah, you know.
Right. Well, so I read it, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know if I really, believe in all this stuff I've been hearing about an artifact and everything. Could be true, could be not. And I don't really have any specific tie to the island, but hey, this sounds kind of fun. I'm a brave adventurer. I could, why not?
And you're also curious to see if there's that much money in the city treasury because
Right.
it's a lot of zeros on the end of that.
Right. As far as the
Jeez.
whole like artifact thing, I just, I like I said, I'd heard people talk about it and stuff, and I always just kind of I thought of it as, oh, that's political stuff. I try to stay out of all that, but
So, so you read the thing and go back to. Are you drinking at the bar or what are you doing?
well, you said it was really crowded and crazy and everything.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Well, I guess I'll look for the courier or whoever it was that put up the paper and see if I can sign on. He left. Would he be the one to talk to?
Yeah, you saw him walk out of the bar
Oh, yeah,
a,
so I'll go see if I can find him.
a couple of minutes after he put the post up. Um, Give me an investigation roll to see if you can walk outside and find it.
Okay. Investigation. 13.
You go outside, and you, being a tabaxi, you have night vision, right? Or dark
Yeah,
vision.
dark vision, yeah.
Even with that, you go outside and look around and you can't find him. So, but it is still early enough that you could go by either the mayor's office or his
Yeah, I was
house.
I was just gonna say, I guess I'll go try to find the mayor then, see where he's at, because I'm assuming he'd be the one that would have instigated or put the order out anyway.
Yeah. So you start walking toward the mayor's house because you know where the mayor lives. You've been here a week, you know where he he lives and or works. But you see him over by the stage where you performed, and he's literally working on tearing it down because he's pretty much given up on continuing the celebration now that this has happened. So he he's working on tearing down the stage. And, um, he sees you and says, "Ah, Meadow, it's a shame you didn't get to do your second set uh, tonight."
Yeah, I know, but I guess things happened.
Yeah, it's it's just sad that because the first set went over so well, I was hoping that the second one would too.
Yes, it was I. Speaking of the events that took place, I saw your notice that you had put up in the bar, and I might be interested.
Mm, Didn't know you were the adventuring type.
Oh, I've been adventuring for a little while.
Okay. Um. Well, I hope other people answer my post too because I wouldn't want to see you going off on your own trying to figure this out. But you can come by my office in the morning and sign the necessary paperwork
Sure.
because I don't think anybody's gonna head out till daylight at the very least.
Right, and I'll hang around and see if anyone else joins.
Okay. If if they do, just bring them with you in the morning.
Okay.
And he says, I hope you have a pleasant, uneventful rest of your evening, and goes back to tearing the stage down. So what do you do?
I guess I'll head back to the inn and see if there's any way I can grab a table. I know it's really busy, but
Uh, you make it back to the inn. Give me a persuasion roll.
persuasion. Okay. Let's see. 21 total.
Ooh, very persuasive. It's all the purring.
Yeah, persuasion. I just gotta
Oh,
wind my way.
come on.
No, no, no. I'm going to ignore that. Uh, uh,
I'm just gonna kind of, like cats do, wind around the ankles.
you you convince the waitress to find you a table. And there is one small table fairly close to the kitchen that nobody seems to be using. And you sit down and you're just sort of hanging out to see if anybody else comes up and reads the flyer. Uh, Art, where are you at this point?
I guess, but he's probably noticed what's going on. The did the Cleric Hospital collapse?
No,
Does it
but
look all safe?
no.
Okay, so we're not going back in.
It hasn't collapsed, but you do notice some structural damage. And you notice that the foundation has in fact moved. So,
So perfectly safe.
right.
So what he would be doing at this point is trying to find places to put the wounded, to put the patients, whether that's inns or people's houses. He probably would have talked to the mayor at some point.
Well,
Tried to see if we could maybe just to find places to get them out of under shelter and try and help their care a little bit.
well, you also catch the mayor while he's trying to tear down the stage. And he suggests that you talk to the bartender slash owner of the inn and see if he has enough rooms open to put the the actual patients from the cleric hospital.
Seems reasonable.
Tell him not to worry about getting paid for it because the city will cover that.
Okay, I will. Thank you very much. So now I head off to talk to the innkeeper.
And so you walk into the inn. It is extremely crowded. You see Meadow over at a small table in the corner, and you go up and talk to the bartender, and you tell him what the mayor said. And the bartender says, "Yeah, I think I've got, what, 6 rooms is what you need?"
6 plus the father
Yeah.
himself.
Um, I think I can do that.
The mayor said that the city would pick up the bill for everything.
Oh, okay, that's fine. You might have a little trouble getting them in here, considering how full it is, but I- I'm sure people will move out of your way.
Good, thank you. I'll let the other clerics know.
So, um, you guys start uh, actually moving patients in and taking them upstairs to where the rooms are. Um, and within maybe a half an hour, everybody is in their rooms. So, what do you do after that?
I'm gonna probably lean up against a wall and try to calm down because it's been a rough day.
Hmm. Well,
Once, probably downstairs in the
right.
main area of the,
Uh,
just kind of
yeah.
lean up against a wall and just try to be calm briefly.
Um, well, you end up by chance leaning against the wall right next to where the guy put posted the flyer on the wall. Do you bother to look over and notice it, or are you too upset at this point?
She's not upset. Just you ever had those really rough days? You just like you need to.
Have like 6 shots before you go home?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
But I'd say he does.
Okay.
I'll be nice.
And it says exactly what I told Meadow about. It's um, the mayor's looking for adventurers to go find out what this was, whether the artifact story has any validity to it, and he's willing to pay a number with a lot of zeros on the end of it to basically save the island and possibly existence in itself. So,
Not bad.
so you read that and then what?
Wow, that is a lot of zeros. Not that I'd really have any idea what he would do with that much money at the moment, but
Make a really nice donation to your goddess.
seems not really a big fan of money. The moon
But
goddess.
and at this point, Meadow, you see, uh, you don't know Arden by name, but you see him standing there looking at the flyer. Do you do you try to go up and talk to him, or do you completely ignore him, or what do you do?
No, I'll wander over there and I'll uh, ask him if he's interested in uh, checking this checking this out. See what this is all about.
Uh, and Arden, you recognize Meadow from when she did the set, her music set at the festival before things started falling apart.
He wasn't there.
Yeah, he was at the temple.
True. Um,
Hey, if you're trying to kill us, we're going to be difficult.
oh, that's this is the first episode. I'm not trying to kill you yet.
Oh, well, okay, fine.
Wait at least till
He's
episode.
not. He's not trying to. Whether it happens or not.
Wait at least till episode 2 or 3.
How about I recognize her from? I would imagine that there would have been. There's probably not a lot of tabaxi in town.
Well, and she's been there for a week. She's
Right,
probably
I've played at the
Yeah.
inn before.
so. Yeah, if you've walked into the inn in the last week, you've probably seen her at some point.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So she walks up to you and is like, "Large number, isn't it?"
Larger number than I think I've. He's not just looking larger number than I think I've really even imagined.
So, do you try and convince him to come with you, or what?
Well, I'll tell him that I've already expressed interest and that so far I think I'm the only one who has. And, even the mayor himself mentioned that it's probably not something I should do alone. So,
Well, the problem is he's quite a bit naive and probably just won't pick up on it. Well, I hope you find someone. I hope you find someone soon to help. I'm sure you could use the help. It sounds like it's dangerous.
I kind of look at his. I'm assuming you're in cleric robes.
Yes.
So I'll notice that and I'll be like, well, it is, probably dangerous. I could, use a cleric maybe. That would be, probably a good person to adventure with. Should I roll for persuasion?
Yeah.
It's persuasion.
Yes. That has to be a thing.
Oh, nat 20.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Okay, so I'm starting to wonder if the rolls you were making in the other game were just because of Kenna, and since, cause since you switched characters, you've suddenly started rolling a whole lot better.
I know.
Starting to wonder about that. So,
over there.
um, Arden, do you want to roll the resist her persuasion, or
I technically can't on a natural 20, can I?
uh, you'd you would have to roll a natural 20 and then have a better bonus than she does. So it would be pretty hard to do.
No, I'm not.
So apparently she takes a little time and convinces you to go with her. Meadow, how do you convince Arden to go with you? Describe how you managed to do this.
Okay.
I okay. I give him the Puss in Boots eyes.
Oh, no. Come on. You gotta be kidding me.
Uh,
No, I can't. I can't.
With a
you,
little purr.
you do you, you do that, and Arden panics and runs down to the end. Like,
Oh my god. I don't know if he's ever seen that before.
I figured somebody had to have.
That's basically why you couldn't resist it. You've never encountered that before.
Gosh. I don't have any words for that. I'm sorry. I'm just not really sure what to say. I can't.
So so he is basically Arden is basically just standing there, stunned, really.
Well, that's different.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a new one. I don't remember seeing that before.
Mhm.
so, so just when I know I have him, I suggest again that he come along with me.
Okay. Well, I don't know how to play this. I can't get that stupid picture out of my head.
You're welcome.
That's the whole point. It's like it actually really did work.
What, you want to go back out now?
That's the whole point.
Okay. Well, I can't say no to that pair of eyes.
Yeah, you're like, guess I don't have anything better to do.
The one person I would tell about this is still unconscious. So, I guess. If we're gonna
Right,
do it, I might as well do it before he wakes up and tells me no.
right. You do have, however, wonder how you're gonna clear this with the hospitals. Yeah, like,
Well, the hospital's kind of in ruins at the moment.
yeah. Actually, everybody you would need to talk to is in rooms upstairs. So it's like,
Well,
and
guess what we're doing?
you figured that it'll take some time for them to rebuild the hospital anyway.
So I tell him that I'm gonna go to the mayor's office tomorrow and fill out the necessary paperwork, and that you can come with me when I do that, and you can get it squared away with the mayor.
I don't suppose I have a choice in all this.
Nope, you've already said yes.
You already said yes.
And you really don't want her to do that to you again.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
It's like, ah.
Now that I know that works, that is a trick I will be using in the future.
Okay, I'll be honest, when you mentioned tabaxi, I never even heard of like vaguely. So I went and looked it up whenever I was thinking you were going to play this, like it certainly wasn't exactly like a house cat.
I am playing it like cat. Wow.
It's great. I love it.
Wait till I start hissing and spitting at whoever we're gonna fight.
If you cough up a hairball, I'm done.
I'll try not to do that in your presence. If I need to, I'll go outside.
Yeah. I'm like, you do that in real life, we'll be ending up at the emergency room. Considering there are no cats in the area, that'd be really rough. So the two of you discuss this, and you're like, okay, there's two of us. How are
Yeah.
you?
So if we're gonna do this, I get the feeling we're gonna need at least one other person. Unless
I'm
you.
hoping I'm hoping someone else shows some interest.
Yeah, I'd kind of hope so. Unless those claws are equally as powerful as that gaze, we are going to need some help.
Yeah, we're probably gonna need some help. I mean, my claws are formidable, but not that formidable.
You're Tabaxi. You're not the Tabaxi version of Wolverine or something.
No, they only do 1d4 slashing damage, so.
So. And while you guys are doing that, Arya's relaxing in her grove outside of town. And you start to see panicked townspeople running down the road past you. Yeah. And by panicked townspeople, I mean several, like maybe a group of like 24, townspeople are like screaming and running and
We're all gonna die.
yeah, that's generally that sort of thing. They're they're you know running as fast as they can, screaming we're all gonna die at the top of their lungs, and
Right.
so what what does Arya do when she sees this, if anything at all?
Um, what the hell are you? Try to catch one. Catch one.
Okay, let's see, what would that be? Um, actually, give me an unarmed attack roll. See if you can just step out and grab one.
14.
That'll do it. Cause the person you're attempting to grab has no idea you're gonna do it. So they're not expecting it. So 14 will do it. And they're like, hold it. What do you know, what's going on? And they start struggling and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, yeah.
Give him a couple slaps across the face. Calm down.
Uh, give me a persuasion roll.
15.
Okay. They take a couple of deep breaths and start to calm down a bit.
What's got you so panicking, running out of town like a crazy person?
Well, the assistant mayor apparently put up a flyer in the inn wanting adventurers to go snooping around to see what the thing that caused the earthquakes today were. And I think it's silly because I think we're all gonna die. And but
Whoopie doo, the ground shook. It shakes all the time everywhere. It doesn't mean the world's ending and we're dying.
yeah, but it did it 3 times in one day, and it was
I've been up in
found,
the mountains up north where it's a constant event every single day.
and it's Founder's Day, and you know what that story is, and
Yeah, I've heard the story.
the upside is the mayor's willing to give whoever goes and does this basically the entire town treasury. It,
Wait,
and
and you're running out of town and not wanting to get the treasury? Joining
we're,
out for this?
we're not adventurers. We don't do that sort of thing.
Adventure or not, if it's a full town treasury, I'd be on jumping on board it to get it
Well,
myself.
well, from what I saw before I ran out of the inn, there's at least 2 people were looking at the flyer. If you want to go do it,
God, you
I myself am just gonna get out of here. Uh, I might even take a boat off the island. I'm not sure.
Oh, what? Then you're just going to swim off the island if you don't take a boat?
Well,
You'll
the
definitely die then.
well, given that we live on an island, those are about your only two choices to get off the place. So yeah.
Well, that's your two choices.
Yeah.
But a good treasury like that could definitely help me with my cause.
Okay. Well, then you should go look at the flyer so you can join the group to do this. I myself am leaving. So,
Good. Less people I have to share the treasure with.
you know, and at that point, he he runs off toward the direction he was heading to begin with. So, does Arya head into town at that point, or do you wait till morning?
What time is it?
It is probably like 8 or 9 o'clock. And
Yeah, I'm going to wait till morning.
so, the bartender gives Meadow and Arden the last empty room in the inn. There is only one, however.
Oh, I'm assuming I was in the room. I had the room I've been staying in all week.
Ah, yeah, that's true. If you've been living there for a week, you
Mhm.
have your room already. Okay. So, Arden gets the final room
Yay!
because the cleric hospital is not inhabitable at the moment.
I imagine they'd already know me just from trying to get the people we
Yeah.
pulled out of there.
So you get into your room, and shortly thereafter, you hear a knock on the door.
You
Do
talking to
you?
me?
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about praying, so I
Hmm.
get up and open the door. Yes.
A very, a conscious but very shaky Father Bob is standing in the doorway.
Oh my goodness. Are you okay?
I wouldn't say that. I would say I'm getting there.
Well, I'm glad to at least see you on your feet.
So what is all this fuss about?
Well, I read this piece of paper, and then there was this cat with these really huge eyes. A tabaxi who just you couldn't say no to. And now apparently I'm going to look for an artifact. So kind of like when I first started Clare College.
Okay.
That's it's a it's another story. We'll tell it when we're sure there's not kids around.
All right. And why are the two of you embarking on this silly errand after all?
Well, normally I wouldn't think about anything like this, but I sort of lost count of the number of zeros on the piece of paper that mentioned a reward for this.
They're offering that much.
Apparently, all of the city's money, which I don't know is a wise idea, but
You can
I
see
feel like I can. I feel like I could do a lot of good with it.
you can see Bob take a step backward because he's like shocked because he knows how much money's in the city treasury, being the head of the cleric hospital. He's like, what?
The mayor seemed kind of fatalistic about the whole thing. I kind of understand where he's going, but either way, I feel that there's a lot of good I can do with that much money.
Well, that's true. There is. I sort of question the mayor's thinking on that score, but
He must know something he's not telling us. It's an
well,
awful
yeah,
lot to offer for a couple of earthquakes.
that's true. Much more research would have to be done into this if it were me, because that's a ridiculous amount of money for anything.
And I mean, I know we have to be careful that we don't do things for money. And we're not doing it for money. We're doing it for a crap load of money.
Well, if you really have to justify it, do it this way. You if the story is true, which I don't really believe myself, but if it is, you're not doing it for money. You're doing it to save everybody's existence. You're just getting a reward for doing that.
The mayor seems convinced.
Well,
Maybe that's all that matters.
yeah, since he's the one uh, hiring you to do these things, and, you should talk to him and find out if you still get the reward if you don't find anything. Because if this is just run of the mill earthquakes, you're not going to find this so called artifact that they keep
I
talking
can't
about.
imagine they'd want to pay for it.
So, I'm just saying, uh, be very careful and don't rush into this because you don't even know what it is. As a gnome, I didn't end up living as long as I have without being very cautious about everything. So,
Yeah, I can believe that.
so,
I understand.
so I'm thinking you'll need a leave of absence from the cleric hospital.
Something like that.
Oh, by the way, what condition is the cleric hospital in at this point? Uh,
It's it's standing, but I don't know. I'm a cleric, not a architect. We felt it was dangerous enough to not put the patients and go back in there.
uh,
Um, but it is alive. It is in one piece. Those
Well,
clerics are pretty powerful.
once
Or
things
the builders are pretty powerful.
once things
Earthquakes. Gosh.
once things calm down for a day or two, I'll have somebody that knows buildings look at it and see what we'll have to do to rebuild it. This is definitely not what we needed right now.
Yeah, I can believe it.
But no, this conversation has taken most of the energy I was able to build up, so I'm going to go back to bed now. Uh, but definitely come by and speak to me again before you decide to go off on this
I will.
adventure. So, and with that, he gives you as much of a hug as he can and then turns and heads back to his room. And with that, the night basically ends, and the three of you uh, head to bed for the evening. And then the next morning, after everybody gets breakfast, Arden and Meadow head to the mayor's office. And Arya heads over to the inn. So, Arya, when
I'm
you
I'm headed to see the mayor. I already know who put it out.
so, so you basically walk into the inn, read it for the details, and you are headed over to the mayor's office too. And the three of you end up standing in the uh, I don't want to say waiting room, but the outer foyer of the mayor's office.
I don't think I've got too much more of this in me.
Actually, we're almost done.
Okay.
Um, and the there is a uh, surprisingly attractive female orc sitting behind a desk. You think she may only be half orc because she looks
Present.
better than any female orc you've seen for a while. And she's like, are all three of you together?
It would seem so.
Well,
Uh,
if we're all here to see the mayor about the adventuring thing, then yes, I guess we're together.
oh, okay. That was going to be my next question is why the three of you were here. So I will, I will uh, go let the mayor know that the three of you are waiting for him. And she gets up and uh, steps out from behind her desk and heads down the hallway. A few minutes later, she walks back sits back down and goes, "The three of you can go see the mayor now." So you walk down the hall, and at the end of the hall, there's an open door. And when you walk through, the mayor's like, "Ah, uh, hello, Meadow. I see that you were able to recruit a couple of assistants, shall we say. Uh, I'm assuming the other two of you are here for the adventuring job."
Since I know Arden is, I kind of look at Arya and I said, and I'm kind of like, is that what you're here for?
Yeah, I need some coins for funding in my previous journey.
So the mayor's like, "Well, if you're able to complete this mission and come back with all of you in hopefully one piece, you will get a sizable number of coin, because I am willing to pay the exact number that is listed in the flyer, although you will have to share it between the three of you. But that is a number large enough that you will all three be very wealthy by the time this is over. And hopefully we can put this uh, story to rest once and for all. So I need all three of you to. He puts contracts in front of each of you and he says, "I need all three of you to sign this."
Okay, I'll go ahead and sign it.
Okay. Then I
Well, I'm
suppose,
going to look it over and read.
yeah, it's basically a contract saying that you've been hired by the island of Burundi to uh, research what caused the earthquake and to finally put to rest, one way or the other, the story about the artifact. And it says in a paragraph below that if the artifact is in fact real, to bring it back with you so it can be finally disposed of properly.
I'll go ahead and sign it after pretending to read through it.
And then it says at the very bottom, in the case that there is no artifact, you will still be paid at least half the number on the flyer, which is still more money than the three of you combined have ever seen in your life. So it's
Okay.
This is a number with 6 zeros and on the end, and it says platinum pieces after that.
Oh, damn.
So this is an incredibly large amount of money. So does Arya sign?
Yeah, I'll sign it.
The mayor says, "Oh, wonderful. Um, from here on, the three of you should pick up whatever supplies you think you might need. Um, and um, depart as soon as possible. When when you're ready to depart, come and see me, and I will give you the appropriate maps. Uh, we are. I would suggest that you start in the direction we were able to uh, discern a slight direction in which the earthquakes happened. Uh, and we mapped those, and I will give you those, and that will give you a starting point. Other than that, we have no idea. Other than the starting point, you are on your own completely. Because this is an event that has never happened before, as far as we know, anyway. And with that, he escorts you out the door and says, assuming you'll get supplies the next day, or maybe that day, he said, since it's still fairly early, he says, I will see you tomorrow, assuming you're leaving tomorrow, and give you the maps we have. And he shows you out the door of the building. So, what do the three of you do at this point?
Well, I might as well go pick up a few supplies.
So, are all three of you gonna do that, or are you gonna split up and do something else?
Well, first off, are we having to buy our own supplies?
Um, actually, I'll say no. I'll say the mayor reached into his desk and gave you a small pouch of coins that one of you is now holding. You have to decide who has the money and what supplies you think you need to do this.
Health potions, for one.
Yeah, that would be handy.
I've got some baked goods, about two
Yeah,
dozen or so.
yeah. Oh, you didn't eat any of them last night when you before you went to bed?
Oh no, not those. I snacked from the other tradition.
Oh, I was gonna say the ones you got from the bakery lady most likely got snarfed by now. But
I need to replenish my food in my pack since I haven't been to the open market since I've been in the week I've been here because I've just been eating in the inn.
right.
So I need to, resupply my rations.
And what does Arden want to do?
I think Arden went to bed.
What? Oh,
Wake up there, dude.
sorry. Um,
I, d- I do promise after you guys tell me what you want to do as far as supplies go, we'll end it there. Th- That, that way you don't have to pull a jinx and fall asleep. Well,
so, um, I would assume Arden would almost need just about everything other
yeah,
than what he was carrying because all of his stuff would be inside the cleric hospital.
which is not in any shape for you to go in and get
No,
stuff out of. So,
you
so,
need the various packs and supplies.
yeah. So what we'll say is that you spend today basically getting food and all the other supplies that you need, and you spend another night in the inn, and you'll be ready to take off the next day. Um, I'm gonna see one last thing. You do have enough money left over after buying all your supplies. You don't have enough for a wagon, but you do have enough for horses if you want them. If not, you're walking out of town on your own.
I think horses sound like a good idea.
So, uh, after you get the supplies, you head to the livery and uh, purchase 3 horses, which they say they will board for you and yeah, feed them and clean them and get them ready to go by morning. And with that, the 3 of you walk back to the inn and get food and head to your room. And Arden has to have a discussion with Father Bob before you guys leave. And that's where we'll end it for tonight. And next time, you guys will be heading out of town on your adventure to try and save humanity as a whole, or figure out that the whole thing is just a childhood story that never happened to begin with. So did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm. You guys rolled a lot better than I thought you would. I
I
am,
think better than we thought we would.
I
Yeah,
am,
definitely better than
I,
I thought I would.
I am utterly amazed by that. I am not
It
how
could be beginner's luck because this is the first game of the
I I was going.
campaign.
I was going to say I'm not willing to put money on whether that will continue or not, but we'll see.
If your
So,
theory is right, though, I'm gonna feel really bad for Kenna. She just
hmm,
even the dice are against poor Kenna.
right, yeah. That would be weird though. That one character rolls really well and the other one rolls really
Right.
badly. But uh, and what I was thinking is that even when Jinx and Melody get back, if there are nights that uh, those two can't play, we'll just play this game instead.
I like
Right.
that.
So, so that way we're always we're always playing something every
Mhm.
Saturday, whether it's this, the other one, or Vampire. So, because when we don't play for weeks at a time, even I have trouble remembering what we're doing. So, I'd rather not. But, well, uh, I hope the people who will see this have as much fun with it as we did. Uh, this ended up going even more haywire than I was assuming it would. Uh,
I mean, you do know us, right? You should have been
right.
expecting something.
I figured first episode what could happen, but that's the way it goes. So I'll have this up probably by tomorrow and uh, buy all of Kenneth's books or all of Robin's books. Sorry, uh, she just came out with another one not very long ago. And, like and subscribe and all that fun stuff that everybody on YouTube tells you to do. And we'll be back next week with Vampire, and as per usual, that's getting weirder by the day.
Yeah.
And and that's all I've got, unless the three of you have anything you want to say.
See you
Good.
next time.
So we can let Arden pass out.
Nice. Good night, folks. I had fun.
Night.
So, how about you, Paul? You have anything you want to say?
Nope. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Have have a good week or two till next time. And um, I guess we will see you next week for Vampire. So I will